Okay, here we are. This is lesson 4. So we are skipping section 3 in this chapter. So we're just going right into percent of change. Okay, so what is percent of change? So percent of change is an amount stated as a percent that a number increases or decreases. So for example, let's say last year a business sold, to keep it simple, like $2,000 worth of merchandise, okay? And then this year they sold $3,000 worth of merchandise. We could say, since they sold an extra half the amount, that they increased by 50%. Their sales increased by 50%. Okay? So that's what we're looking at when we're talking about percent of change. And percent of increase happens when the amount goes up, and decrease happens when the amount goes down. All right, so some examples here: finding percent of change and rounding answers to the nearest tenth. So to the nearest tenth means we're going to round to 1 decimal place. Okay. So the first one says 65 is decreased to 38. So the way that they do this, I kind of agree with the first step, but not really the second step. So the first step is we're going to be to find the amount of change, and we do that by subtracting. Okay, so how much do we change from 65 to 38? So the first step is to subtract the numbers, and we get 27. Okay, there is really no formula that we're going to talk about here, but we always are going to divide by the original amount because we always want to compare to what we originally started with. Okay, so that's going to be our steps. Step 1, subtract. Step 2, divide by your original amount. Okay, so here we have showing that division. 27 is your subtracted amount. 65 is your original amount. Okay, when we divide, we end up with a decimal, and of course we have to write that as a percent. So to do that, we're going to move that decimal point 2 to the right, and we're going to round it to the nearest tenth, which is 1 decimal place. So this is going to be 41.5%, because the 3 after the 5 is going to keep the 5 where it is. Okay, so this is going to be a percent of decrease because it's going down, right? So that's why they said the percent of decrease is about 41.5%. All right, 41 is increased to 92. So guess what? The steps are the same. Doesn't matter which order we subtract in, so I usually just take the bigger number minus the smaller number. So here I did 65 minus 38. Here I'm going to do 92 minus 41, so I just end up with a positive number. So again, first step is to find the amount of change by subtracting. Okay, so if I subtract the two numbers, 92 minus 41 is 51. Okay, and then again, the step 2 is going to be to divide by the original amount. So here, our original amount was 41, and then it went up. So we're going to be dividing by 41. So we take the subtracted value and divide by the original amount, which is 41. Okay, we end up with this number 1.2439. We're going to move that decimal 2 to the right to change that to a percent. We're going to round it, so that's 124 point. Now the 9 is going to round that 3 up to a 4. So the percent of increase is about 124.4%. Now, this is possible. I know a lot of times people say more than 100% is not possible, but it is with percent of increase, because what happens is if something doubles, like for example, if it went from 41 to 82, that's actually 100% increase. So if it more than doubles, it's going to be more than 100%. If something were to triple, it would actually increase by 200%, and so on. All right, this next one says the regular price of a bicycle helmet is $42.99. It's on sale for 20% off. What is the sale price? Okay, so first of all, with this problem, it's 20% off of the original amount. So first we have to multiply to find the discount. 20% of $42.99 is what number? So again, we have to change this 20% to a decimal first. This is just like we did in the last section. And we're going to go ahead and multiply. 0.20 times $42.99 comes out to be 8.598 if you look on a calculator. So we're going to round that to the nearest cent. Okay, this is 0.59 would normally be cents, but 8 is going to round the 59 cents up to 60 cents. Okay, so that's the amount of our discount. That's not going to be our final price. That's just how much the discount is. So it was $42.99 and the discount amount is $8.60. So to figure out the final sale price, we take the regular price and subtract the discount to get our sale price. So we're going to start with that $42.99, subtract the $8.60, and in the end we end up with $34.39. Okay, think to yourself sometimes, does it make sense to, if it's only a 20% sale for our final price to be $8.60? A lot of people forget this last step to find the sale price, which is to subtract the two. All right, the next one says a boutique buys hand-painted t-shirts for $12.60 each and sells them at a 110% increase in price. What is the retail price of the t-shirts? Okay, so they're going to sell them at more than 100% of the price because they want to make a profit, right? If they sold them at 100% price, that'd be $12.60. But they're going to increase it to 110% of the original price. So of again means multiply. So we're going to multiply 110% times $12.60. We have to change 110% to a decimal. So moving that decimal point 2 to the left, we get 1.10. If I multiply those, that ends up being 13.86. Okay. So we're going to increase that amount by $13.86. So that means, they're actually going to be a different price for the retail. We're going to add $13.86 onto this amount so that we make 110% profit, which, as I told you before, 100% means it's going to double in price, right? So this is going to more than double in price. So to figure out, the final selling price, we're going to take the $12.60, which is the wholesale price. The wholesale price is how much we bought that shirt for before we turned around and sold it, for the increase of $13.86. So if I add those together, we're going to be selling this shirt for $26.46. Okay, and that's going to be 110% profit. So that's going to sound like a lot of money to you, like they're ripping you off because they're charging you more than twice what they paid for it. But you got to think that there are costs of labor, costs of transportation getting it there, plus all of the, if they're basically, screen printing a shirt, all the costs that go with that. So this does cost, it's no surprise to see something more than double when you're manufacturing it. Okay, here we have find a percent of change. So 70 decreased to 45. The two steps in that is, first of all, subtract the numbers. So if I subtract those numbers, I get 25. After that, the second step is to divide by the original amount, which in this case was 70. Okay, so if I look at my calculator here, we're going to do 25 divided by 70, and we get this big long decimal, 0.357142857. Okay, so we got to change this to a percent. So we're going to move this decimal 2 to the right, and this is going to be 35 point. Now, do I keep the 7 a 7 or round it up? Let's look at the next digit. It's a 1. The 1 is small enough to keep that 7 the same way, so 35.7%. Okay, The next one is the regular price of a computer game is $49.88 and it's on sale for 15% off. Find the sale price. So whenever you see a percent and a number, almost every single time, you're going to have to start the problem by multiplying them, okay? A percent and a number usually means multiply. So first let's change this 15% to a decimal, 0.15, and we'll multiply it by 49.88. Okay, and that's going to come out to about $7.48. Now that is the discount amount. Okay, it's not the final sale price. It's just how much we are discounting that $49.88. So to find the final sale price, we're going to start with the $49.88 and we have to subtract that discount amount. And in the end, the computer game is going to cost us $42.40. All right, the last one says William makes t-shirts for $7 each and sells them after a price increase of 125%. What's the retail price of the shirts? So again, 125% is more than 100%. So this price is going to more than double. So it's going to be more than $14 that we sell this shirt for. So first of all, again, a percent and a number, we're going to start by multiplying them. We have to change 125% into a decimal, which is 1.25, and then we're going to multiply it by that $7. Okay, in the end, that's going to be $8.75. This is what we call the markup price. We're going to be marking it up by this amount. That's not going to be your final selling price. It's just how much we're increasing the $7 by. So we're going to take the $7 that we paid for the item and we're going to add $8.75 so that we make some kind of profit and we pay for our costs along the way. And that's going to end up being $15.75, which, as I said, it's going to be more than double. And $15.75 is more than double the $7. Okay, let me know if you have any questions on percent of change.